Brexit Party formed because Nigel Farage didn't trust the Conservative Party to deliver Brexit. How do you feel tonight, Belinda? Do you think Brexit's under threat?
I'm not surprised at all we're in the situation we are in. The muscle and machinery of Remain and the globalists and the supernationalists nationalists has been so strong ever since 2016. Brexit has been at risk. And my God, the British people fought with their sweat, blood and tears to just get it across the line in 2019. And I know it's a lot to ask these wonderful democracy-defending and freedom-loving Brits to re-engage, but re-engage they must, because without doubt, fundamental self-determining of our own laws is at risk. People keep saying Brexit, and Brexit is now being associated with the negative. The press have done this, politicians have done this. Brexit is not an economic policy. It was just a constitutional change. It was just reallocating powers from unaccountable foreign politicians and foreign courts back to our national politicians. Why? The question is, why do people want foreign unaccountable politicians and courts to rule over us, to make our policies? Why? What is the reasoning behind it? Because it is dodgy as bleep.
And totally anti-democratic. No, I couldn't agree with you more, Belinda. Nigel Nelson, you think we need to rejoin the single market?
Yes, I do.
But that's not Brexit.
Well, I don't know what everyone thinks Brexit is.
Well, it certainly wasn't being part of the single market.
Leaving the EU is absolutely right.
No, the EU institutions.
Well, okay.
That's all it was. Yes or no? We voted to be out of the institutions.
Let's work on the basis of making Brexit work. That we didn't get the oven-ready deal that Boris Johnson promised. We got something half-baked. So, if you had the whole of the UK under a common rule, that would solve your Northern Ireland problem. Would you accept us just going back into the single market, provided it didn't come with the string of free movement and the European Court of Justice?
I don't think that could happen.
No.
They're not going to let us back in.
No, I wouldn't accept it. I wouldn't accept it. Well, I simply wouldn't accept it because it's not what we voted for. And I'm going to quote from the 2019 Conservative Manifesto, which said very clearly, we will keep the UK out of the single market, out of any form of customs union, and end the role of the European Court of Justice. That is why we gave Boris the landslide in 2019.
But do you not think that frictionless trade with Europe is actually a goal to go
We can get that anyway.
It comes at a cost.
But the problem has been is, we haven't been able to maximise the benefits of Brexit because the pandemic happened, because of the war in Europe, because inflation.
Well, the pandemic literally happened within weeks of us.
Completely. So we haven't been able to maximise what we should have been able to do.
I mean, we don't actually know the good sides of Brexit or even the bad sides because of the pandemic.
You must admit the Eurozone is in trouble too. Germany's in trouble.
The world's
Italy's in trouble.
Yeah, I agree.
So they are worse off. And I know we think our our tax rate is high here, and yes, it is. But there are countries in the Eurozone where the tax burden is higher than it is
Not only
here.
that, in fact, unemployment in the Eurozone is 2.5% higher than it is in the UK. But when you say Brexit work or not work, what do you mean? It doesn't even make sense. Would you say to Australia that self-governs, how does your self-governing work or not work?
It's
it is
democracy.
Not policy. This is just about
what I'm saying is
national government.
That the effects of Brexit have been masked by external events like the pandemic. And all I'm looking for here is where we can find some common ground to make things better.
But we don't want common ground with them.
No, common ground comes at a cost,
of course.
and a very, very severe
we can't even begin a negotiation until you can agree on the common ground.
But only 8% of British businesses even trade with the EU. You're talking about a tiny amount of businesses.
It's still our biggest our trading partner.
But what, we've had 6 years since the vote for our businesses to learn how to trade differently. And yes, there is a bit more paperwork, but they knew that. And I'm sorry, Brexit, there are pros and cons, right? But the most important thing is our politicians, we can kick them out for making laws we don't like. We can't do that in part of the EU.
Exactly.
It's not about economics.
Exactly. And the CBI and all of these folk need to start realising that we are not for turning. The British public are not for turning when it comes to Brexit. So today, when they say more migration,
But
no.
But you say one not pretending. The poll that really worried me, Dan, was the YouGov poll this weekend, which said that 32% of people now believe
Carol,
we made the wrong decision.
I know, but imagine
who
would
was
happen
talked to,
in this country
if
Brexit was overturned. There would be an entire generation who would lose faith with democracy and our institutions.
They have already.
Well, exactly, it's starting.
Say that,
but you try and overturn Brexit.
What does that actually mean?
I think if you try and overturn Brexit,
I hope you're
things
right.
would get very bad.
Do not trust Westminster or the blob at all with Brexit.
Well, the blob
it belongs to the people. We own it, and we will keep pushing for it. No one has the right to sell our sovereignty.
But this is a media campaign, as it very often is, as you rightly point out, Belinda, to make it look as if Brexit isn't working when actually we don't know. We went immediately into the pandemic, and I think you're right. Actually, it just works because